All right, everybody. I'm back with the Bond reviews and spoilers. Yeah, a bit late because I've been having to fucking get um, Yaphet Koto's name fucking like because it's one of them names like man where it's not spelt how it's pronounced. But anyway, yeah, the best film ever. Well, one of the best films, the best Bond film ever. Live and Let Die. Let's get the thumbnail up. Good, yeah. One of them where I didn't even have to write anything down really because I've seen it so many times and it's my favourite Bond film that I pretty much know what happens in that film because the like main plot line is Bond has to shag Jane Seymour to lose her virginity because she's like in her 20s or whatever. So she can't read tarot cards, and then Yaphet Koto's character of oh shit, was it Kadanga? That was it, yeah. Of Kadanga hasn't got like the power of a fortune teller. Yeah, so basically the plotline to stop him from selling, well, sort of selling heroin. And that's basically the plotline to Live and Let Die. But it's one of them films where there's so much action in it that, like, hopefully, this shouldn't be that long because it's got so much action that the action is so good and that like big long action scenes, and so explaining that is really easy compared to like all hotlines and all that stuff. But yeah, well, just trying to find. Here we got it. Right, get it up now. Because yeah, another thing with this film and all is it's got a great soundtrack that runs mostly through it. Because there is bits that like, but when it comes to the action and that, like the soundtrack kicks in and that adds to the action more and that. And it's like comedy and all, but cause that's Roger Moore's sort of style, where it's tongue in cheek. So some crazy bits in it and that. But yeah, there we go. Living like that. Da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum. Yeah, I picked the cover of the CD because I got because the soundtrack's so good because it's got Paul McCartney and Wings doing the title song of Living Like Die, and then you've got like the soundtrack of like a funky Bond sort of like theme tune that they like redid sort of thing for the 70s, and some other great songs like little theme tune sort of things and that, and a good cover version of "Live and Let Die" by this like funk band and that. But yeah, so I picked that, and then I put like Roger Moore with Jay Seymour and often their name because the cast that out. Yeah, we got. Oh, this is the them like what else to do with the Bond. But yeah, so you got like Roger Moore. There we go. Bring it up. Yeah. So obviously, like Roger Moore as James Bond, Jane Seymour as Solitaire. Yeah, Yaphet that Cotto. Although I can see where it would say Yaphet, but it says Yaphet Cotto, but Yaphet Cotto as the main villain in that, and Gloria Henry as Rose Carver. Yeah, who's the other female, and Jeffrey Holdner as Baron Samedi. Sean Connery wasn't in it, so that's why you don't fucking trust Google. Um, Clifton James as Sheriff J.W. Pepper in that. Um, Madeline Smith as Miss Crusoe. Yeah, she's in it for like fucking 2 or 3 minutes at the start. But yeah, no. Julius Harris as T. Got like um, a mechanical arm that's got a hook come grip thing. Real, real good sort of weapon in that. Yeah, and yeah, L. Jolly Brown as Whisper. George Lazenby wanting it. Tommy Lane as Adam. Yeah, and Lois Maxwell as Miss Moneypenny. And yeah, Ruth Ketford as Mrs. Bell. And Bernard Lee as M. Yeah, she's only in it for like 5 minutes, but it was like a comedy bit. Real funny. Yeah. Lone Saturn as Slutter. Yeah. Could be Indy as Sales Girl. Yeah, she's only in it for like 2 minutes. BJ Arana as Singer. Yeah, she they do the cover version of the Live and Let Die. And then Michael Edmund as Dabalama. Yeah. Um, oh, yeah. And Arnold Williams, he's a dude on this side as the cab driver, you know. And Roy Stutter's Quabble Junior, who's like helps him. Uh, might not be in it. And that. No, Desmond Llewellyn wanting it as Q. That's like talking crap. Well, yeah. Um, yeah. You see his claw. I think this one might show you there. Yeah, see his claw, that his full arm, because he got bitten off by a crocodile. So his full arm is like a metal synthetic arm with the hook come claw sort of thing. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Class. Anyway, let's go on to the spoilers. So, yeah. On it. Yeah. Yeah. Because the cover art is a bit misleading because there isn't a big crocodile that a boat comes out of its mouth. But there's boats and cop cars, but they don't crash into each other neither. And like this big machine gun thing turret, like that's not in the film either. Although, actually, yeah, there is a scene where a boat does crash into a cop car, actually, but it's not on this. That, though. But anyway, onto the spoilers. Yeah, there we go. Right. So yeah, Bond film starts off with the classic gun barrel shoot scene, but it's not Roger Moore. I think it was one of them where, because there is poster art of Sean Connery's face on Live and Let Die poster art, because I didn't know if it was going to be Roger Moore or Sean Connery or anyone else. I think they might be looking at a few others, and so when it finally was like Roger Moore and that, like it was the way it's supposed to do the gun barrel scene. I think so. They used I think it was a stunt man because he's got blonde hair, but he's got a hat on. But yeah, they used just like a stunt man to do the Bond shoot scene and that. Yeah, and yeah, blood goes down in that as per usual. And uh, uh, opens up to the United Nations in New York City, where they're listening to Kananga, who played by Yaphet Kotto. He's at one of the United Nations talking about peace agreements and all this shit and that. And the earpiece that the United Kingdom official there has gets interfered with some kind of electronic sound that goes through the earpiece and kills him. And like, he's dead. And so like, it goes to in New Orleans, where this dude's case in this fillet of soul sort of come restaurant bar sort of like place, and you see like a New Orleans funeral walking down the street and that, where they're all like playing sad music, because it's one of them where the play real sad music and then they start playing cheerful music sort of thing. One of them. Well, anyway, as they play sad music, the dude who's like a British agent watching the Fillet of Soul restaurant, a dude comes up to him sort of thing and stands next to him and he's like, oh, whose funeral is it? And the dude's like, oh, it's yours. And then he stabs him in that. And then as he like falls to the ground and that, because he must have stabbed him in his lungs or something, because he don't make sound in that. Dead, sort of like in seconds, nearly. But anyway, the funeral casket gets put over him and that, and like how they did it in the stunt was the dude just hung on to the funeral casket and lift it up. But in the film, it's supposed to be like able to like suck him up into the casket and that, and then they start playing cheerful music and that, and it's all like one of these New Orleans funerals where they like dancing and like celebrating and everything and that. A bit racist and that, because this film is a bit racist against white people. Because it's like, oh yeah, they killed the honky. And then it's a place called San Monique. Now I don't know if it's a made up place, but it's an island in the Caribbean and that, where you see this dude get tied to a post and all these sort of like black voodoo sort of like people that like are the public of the island and that, but all this voodoo and that, so they're dancing around and that, and this British agent who's tied to the pole, this dude with the goat's head thing on his head, like dances with a snake, and then he like gets the snake to bite him and that, and then he like kills him and that, and then you wear the theme tune of Paul McCartney with "When You Were Young and Your Heart Was an Open Book," and then theme tune comes on and that, class theme tune and that. Pretty good sort of intro, like the Bond sort of like feel to it. Shadowy naked bears dancing around and explosions and fire and skulls and that. So gives it the fucking action feel to it and that. And so yeah. Well, the end credits end, and then like you see like Bond with what's the name? Oh, well, anyway. I'll show you a picture of her. Because like she's only there for 2 minutes, but there we go. Well, anyway, there's a knock on the door and that, and Bond's like, "Oh, are you married?" and that, because she's an Italian agent and that, and so he opens the door and it's Moneypenny and that, and M comes in and that, and he talks about like, oh yeah, Italians want to know where Miss Cross, Madeline Smith, her name, yeah, Carizio is and that, and she adds away sort of thing. And Bond's like, oh, I'll make you a cup of coffee and that, and he gets his watch back, and he like, oh yeah, and M's like, oh yeah, that's a bit of an expensive watch. What? Why don't you buy like a better one? And then Bond shows him it's like magnetized, and so he fucking gets a spoon from his cup of coffee that he's got on the saucer, and then like M sort of tells him, oh yeah, there's 3 agents gone missing, presumed dead, and that. Well, one of them they know is dead, but the other 2 they've gone. They don't know where they are, and that. So Bond's been told to investigate, and then like Miss Moneypenny comes in and that, and she sees what's her name, Madeline Smith, Miss Crozio, fucking running into like the court sort of room, because Bond's got like a big place sort of thing and that. And then like M's like, right, I've got to get going and that. And then Miss Moneypenny gets his coat and that. And Bond's like, oh yeah, cheers, Miss Moneypenny, thank you and that. And let's get back onto the spoiler thing. Yeah, so guess caught on that, and Bond's got a flight to go. Oh, but he like let's roll the and then he's got a flight to go to New York, and that. And then you see these tarot cards done by Solitaire by James Seymour, saying like, oh yeah, there's a dude coming, uh, and he brings destruction and this and that. Well, anyway, gets to like New York and that, and he's got like a taxi for him with an agent in, and so he goes in the taxi and that. Oh no, I think it's a taxi, yeah, but oh no, it's a taxi, no, it's just a car, but it's there to pick him up anyway. Well, as they're driving to meet Felix and that later, the American CIA agent that like because they're looking at Mr. Biggs sort of residency and that, or Kananga. I think no, they're following Kananga out there. Well, anyway, a car pulls alongside them, like white, what's they call like pimp mobile, but it's just a white car, but it's all picked out. Anyway, it's got like these dark things that shoot out of the mirror, side mirrors of the car, and they shoot a dart into the driver's forehead, and he like kills him and makes him sort of like put his foot onto the accelerator, so the car's going real fast and that, and then like Roger Moore, he like leans over and that takes over the steering wheel and that, and fucking able to like crash it sort of like into the side of a car and that to make make it stop. No good stunt on that. But anyway, they're like watching Kananga, who's I think he's a diplomat to or he owns the island of Samanique, but he's there as a diplomatic anyway, because I think he owns it, but he's there as diplomatic sort of business. Well, anyway, go into a room with that, and he starts talking, and then he puts on a tape that is basically doing the same conversations. So people listening in still think that they're talking, and then they get dressed up, so or undressed and that, and like dressed up and that, and Bond gets like details back on the white Pintmobile that fucking shot at his driver and that. Well, they give him an address, and it's near a shop that sells voodoo stuff. So Bond goes into the shop and that, and he's having a look around and that, and he don't really see much that he wants to buy. But then, like, the dude who's driving the white Pintmobile, he walks in and that. So then he gets like a snake thing to buy and that. So the woman behind the till has to go up, and then he follows the dude that like goes into a car park, and then he sees the white Pintmobile, and he's checking it out and that, and then he hears a lift door, and like people come out and that, and go into a car that like he gets a registration number on it, and then he sort of like goes out and of the garage and hails down a cab that like he says, "Oh yeah, follow that car," and that, and then he comes to the Fillet of Soul restaurant, and like it's downtown Harlem and that. So the taxi driver goes like, "Oh, I sure hope you make friends easy," and that. Well, anyway, he's like a spar for him, because he says, "Oh yeah, Bond's coming in," and that. So he goes in and that, and this is right racist in that, because they're all like with him because he's a white dude, and it's like a black sort of like bar come restaurant sort of thing. Well, he orders a drink and that, and say, "Oh yeah, right, we'll get you it." A bit of fucking like shit to give him, sort of thing, about charging him extra for having no ice in his drink and that. But anyway, as he sat down in that at this booth, the dude comes and brings him his drink, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I want some information." But before he can like really say out, the booth spins around into another room where like there's dudes there with guns and that, and he sees Solitaire and that, and then Mr. Big comes out, and he's like, "Oh, what is this?" Bond's like, "Oh yeah, the name's Bond," and before I can go, James Bond, Mr. Big, who's like a drug dealer in that, is like, "Names of his tombstones, baby. Now go out and waste that honk, and I go out and waste this honky to his mates." So before like this happened though, he gets checked for his gun, and Teehee comes out with his metal arm and crushes his gun, and then like Bond, before he goes, talks to Solitaire because she's got her tarot cards out and that. And he's like, "Oh yeah, is there anything about us?" And then he pulls a lumber card out, and he's like, "Oh, us maybe." Oh no, he says anything about my future. Well, anyway, then he gets escorted by these like basketball player dudes because they're all something like that. And then he gets pushed outside and into like these dudes with a gun and that who are like told to like waste him and that. And there's a little bit of racist where they call him a honky again. And because he was going to grab a wooden bit out of her oil can that's like was going to be bent or whatever. And then he goes underneath these sort of like stairs that like lead up to your emergency back chute, like fire exit stair things that are on the outside of buildings. He pulls them down, slams them, and then kicks one in his throat because one got knocked out. And then like a dude who's like for the CIA or FBI is like, "Oh yeah, freeze and that," but he's working for a minute, and then like one's talking about, "Oh yeah, there was a girl out there with a deck of cards and that," and it's where like this black dude, because if it had been a white dude, it'd have been too racist, but this black dude was like, "Oh, I saw those cards and there was all spades and that," and so like they just sort of bypass that. Well, anyway, get in the car and don't like Felix later because they'll be talking about the original Felix. You see, like it's in somebody where what's his name? Jeffrey Holder as Baron Samedi. He's like dancing around and that. Dressed as Baron Samedi, fucking doing some crazy shit, and like a dude on, because it's all for like this hotel and that, and a dude on the microphones all like, "Oh yeah, here's Baron Samedi, the voodoo witch doctor that cannot die, but for our entertainment purposes is just an actor in that." And then Bond goes into the hotel room, and then he's a bit surprised because Mrs. Bond has booked another hotel room in the hotel. So anyway, gets in the hotel and that, and starts like running up and that, checking for bugs, as in like transmission bugs that like listen to you and that, and get some champagne and that delivered by Whispers and that one of the like Baron Sam Kananga's henchmen and that. Well, a snake gets put into the bath and room and that, and as Bond's like shaving in the mirror, the snake's climbing to the back of his foot, but he turns around and like burns it, like burns a plastic snake, because I don't think that they did a real snake, because they had a few plastic snakes on the set and that, and kills it, and then like, because he uses some deodorant spray to like set it on fire and that with a lighter from his cigar. Well, anyway, then someone tries to get into the hotel room, and so he bends her arm and then like chucks him onto the bed, and it's Mrs. Bond who's Gloria Hendry Rosie Cleaver, who's a CIA operative, and like in the room and that. Bond like covers up the listening bugs and that, and start talking and that. She says she has been sent to help him out, show him where the dude who got bit by the snake at the beginning died and that. Well, she goes into the bathroom and the snake and she screams. Then she goes into the bedroom because she's on the two separate beds, and there's a little hat with a little feather in it, a white feather, and she gets spooked out because it's a sign or whatever. And so she starts screaming, and then Bond's like, "Oh yeah, not to be afraid of. It was just a little man who lost a fight with a chicken. Oh yeah, because there's a bit of blood on the feather." Well, anyway, the next day, Bond gets like up early and at breakfast he gets a note with a card of an upside down Queen of Cups. It's a card, a tarot card. Well, anyway, he goes to a tarot place to check out what it means, but you don't know until later on, because then he goes fishing and that, and the dude he's fishing with is a dude who's like his contact dude who's agent for like America or whatever, and that, and he's helping Bond. Well, she didn't know that, and she shoots him and that because she finds like a secret stash with guns and that. Like, and then Bond's all like, "Yeah, she's a bit of a crap agent, but she's all right." And then he slaps her ass and says, "Oh yeah, let's go. Where did their thingy die?" And that, and she like, points to up in a sort of like island bit, because it's sort of like in the Caribbean sort of thing, where Kananga sort of lives. And like, all right, let's get up there and that. And so he gets out of the boat and that, and he's got a car sort of waiting for him and that, because it's a little island, but it's big enough to be like a big city sort of thing. Well, anyway, they drive up there and that, and they're like these scarecrow things and that look like they've got coconut heads, like hollowed out coconut heads. But I don't know exactly what they are, sort of thing. Well, anyway, Bond and Gloria Henry Rose Cleaver, like, they have a little picnic and a shag and that. And then Bond's all like, "Oh yeah, there's this card. It's the Queen of Cups upside down, means a deceitful woman who lies and that." And then he has to put questions and that. He points a gun to her face, and she's all like, "Oh no, you won't kill me. Not after what we've just done, because I had a shag." And he's like, "Well, I certainly have done it before." Well, he's like really like Bond, sort of like Roger Moore style sort of thing. And then like she sees these coconut like scarecrow things that like she starts screaming and that, and Bond's like, "Yeah, if you don't tell me, I'm gonna kill you." So anyway, she runs off and that. But one of these coconut things shoot her dead, and like before this happens, Kananga has been asking Solitaire, who was like reading the cards for it, if it'd be death. He just said, yeah, because she pulled out the lover's card, and so she didn't want to say about the lover's card, so she said, yeah. And then because Kananga thought like it was going to be Bond that died, he starts questioning her, and then she's all like, all like, well, it must have been the girl's death. So you got to be a bit more precise on your questions and that. But he's like, oh, just go to bed. Don't make me angry with you. But anyway, then you see Roger Moore, Bond, paragliding from like a boat that, well, the boat's towing him along. So he's and it's supposed to be done on a night time, even though it's not filmed on a night time. Because I think if the filmed on a night time, it would have been too dark. So it's sort of filmed darkish light, but not so dark you can't see what happens. Anyway, he's like on this paraglider sort of thing. Must be 200, 300 foot up in the air that can't really see him. And so then he disconnects the rope and that. And his mate on the boat just sort of like burns along back to show whatever and that. And then Bond pulls a like guard who's on watch and that over the edge of this cliff and that, and then lands outside of Solitaire's sort of house and that, and then goes in, changes into a suit that's like a double-sided jacket, and then you strips off these pants and that, and then as a tie and everything, so it looks like he's like on official business. Well, anyway, he goes in and sits at a like table with cards and that. What she thinks is cards anyway, and he's like, oh yeah, me and you. It said in the cards that would be lovers and that to her, and he's like, if you really believe in the cards, pick a card. And so she picks one, and it's the lovers card. And then you see Bond like kissing her, and then he like puts the cards face up on the table as he's kissing her, so she can't see him and that. And they're all the lovers card. It's one of them where in real life you wouldn't do that because that way if you did see it, but Roger Moore or Bond, it's one of them where there's some things in this film that like logically wouldn't happen without modification. Like there's a bit in a speedboat chase where they had to modify speedboat, and so it wouldn't have done it unless I modified it. And so some stuff where it's for film, then continuity, like realism, even though they have to do some realism to film, because you're gonna think, oh, this is just bullshit, because he did get it that way. So everyone whether yourself fucking around. Well, anyway, because Bond shags her in that, she can't like read the cards no more, because it's a thing where you got to be a virgin to like be able to fucking read tarot cards. And even though like she's in her 20s, like mid-20s, but she's still a virgin because Kananga hasn't let no one fucking go anywhere near her and that, because he like knows, because he had a mother working for him, but she obviously got pregnant and that, and like she lost their powers and that. So, well, anyway, Roger Moore like is all like, oh yeah, we're lovers now and that. You can tell me what happens on the other side. And she's like, well, I haven't been there because Kananga won't let her go there. But she's seen in the cards that there's riches and that. So anyway, Bond's like, oh yeah, well let's go and that. Because she starts breaking down into tears because she thinks she's going to get killed by Kananga for losing the virginity and not being able to read the cards. Well, anyway, like Bond's all like, oh yeah, no, you'll have to kill us, darling. You'll have to kill us. And she's all like buzzing. She's like, oh yeah, he's not going to let me just be alone and that. And so he's like, yeah, if you help me and that, look at, see what's on the other side of the island, that no one's allowed there, sort of thing. That the agents that had been killed because they got a bit close to it. Then he's got a boat ready to go back to London or whatever, give a British passport or whatever, or like help him on his mission. So she agrees in that, and then they're like out walking and that to this sort of like fields and that, and there's a bit of a cemetery thing to go through, and there's the Baron Samedi, but he's not dressed up as Baron. Well, he's dressed up as Baron Samedi, but not like half white, half black Baron Samedi, but he's just acting a bit normal on that. And he's playing a float in Bond and that season, and then he's like, oh, it's going to be a beautiful day and all this and that. And then he on his float as Bond and Solitaire walk by, he's like, oh yeah, the like going to the fields or whatever, and so like Kananga's like, right, on because he's in his office, he's on the radio, like, right, well, if he finds the field, kill him. Well, anyway, they're looking at that and they can't really see much, but then they discover that there's netting that's covering up all these heroin poppy plants and that, so heroin and that, and then you see like this helicopter come, but they're underneath these nets and that, but the helicopter shoots and that, but they escape and that because they can't really see them because under these nets that are covering all these heroin plants that like are growing underneath these nets. So when you look at it from the sky, you can't see, like, and so they go to this, and then they get to this little village place where there's a double-decker bus, and that, well, Kananga gives the orders not to harm the girl, but kill Bond. Well, anyway, Bond gets in and starts driving this double-decker, and Solitaire sits in the back of that, and like obviously like the stunt driver's driving, and he does like handbrake turn and that, which Jane Seymour was actually sat in the back. It didn't really have to be because they could have got a double, but she did it because like it wasn't a real dangerous stunt done right, but it did go wrong a bit, but not real wrong because he was supposed to do a sort of like handbrake turn and keep on the road, and but he didn't. sort of like slides off the road a bit, but not major. Well, anyway, then he because these cop bikes are following him and that, and so he like makes them fall off and that because I think probably the stump would have been he like handbrakes it and he just popped off the road and they slam into the bus, but because like he handbrakes it and it slides off the road onto the side, then they just like tend to skid all over and like fall to the sides and that. But anyway, then cop cars like following him and that. And then he comes to a fork in the road where it's blocked off through a car being break down in that well. So he has to go down this other route where it's got a low bridge, and this is where they did more for like style than physicality, because if they hit the bus at the bridge without loosening up the top part of the bus by cutting it slightly, so when it did hit the top, it came off real easy. If they hadn't done that, then the stunt wouldn't have worked. The bridge would, the bus would have probably got jammed underneath it. But they do it so the top of the double-decker bus comes off, and then the cop car behind him, following him, goes into the back of it and that, and then goes into like a river and that, and then Bond goes to the docks and that where the boat is and gets into the boat and that, and then they go to New York and that, but when they get out of the airport and go into a cab, is one of Kananga's men who like do a child lock safety thing, but then like a glass plate comes up dividing passenger seats with the front two driver seats, or the front seat between the back seats. So they take him to like this airport where this dude's like, "Oh yeah, you stole something from Mr. Big." Oh no, you stole something from Kananga, and that's one of Mr. Big's mates. Oh, like you should have done it. And so they're gonna take him up into the sky and drop him off into like down with no parachute and that. Well, anyway, as it comes to the airplane, Solitaire like hits Bond with a bag, causing a distraction. That then Bond beats up the two. I don't beat him up, or he hits him enough that he can get away. Like he slides underneath the plane, runs and gets into this plane that like a student, the old woman, she's like a student that's doing like lessons and that, and Roger Moore comes in and pretends like he's a substitute shooter, and that, he knows how to, because he's James Bond and that, he knows how to play players. Hey, so Adam, sure, Adam, man, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, but this is a great bit though, because like when he gets into the helicopter, that bit of comedy in that, but he burns off in, the aeroplane, because it's one of them two-seater aeroplanes that you do, like, and it's in the 70s and all. So the like that got out real great, but it's just a normal one of them two-seater planes. Well, he starts like going around the car park and that, and getting chased, and everything like shooting at him in that. Because this is a great stunt bit. Because like they have like the plane getting like chased at by cars, and these cars are like getting mashed up in that, because in the hangars it's well slippy, and they start like crashing and that, and so like a few could come out and not crash with him, but like the can't really shoot him because he's in the plane doing probably about 10 miles per hour, but it's still like to shoot him. And then the close the hangar doors, which meet with but Roger Moore, Bond, he just goes through it and that, which makes the plane's wings get like decapitated off it and that. And then he's still going around and they're still trying to shoot him in that. But like they end up like getting sort of like out of breath and all that, and just thinking, oh yeah, no, it's so crazy because the propeller on the plane could like really mash them up in that. And so, but anyway, the Bond gets out in that, and it cuts to where the back at the hotel rooms, so you don't see Bond escape from them fully, but he's supposed to have like messed them up that much. They just don't want to go near him and that. So then at the hotel room, Bond's getting fitted for like some suits, and Felix Leiter's getting like an earful from the aeroplane company that like Bond trashed all their aeroplanes and that, and like Felix Leiter's like, oh yeah, we'll cover the bill and that, because he's on a mission, and so it's federal government sort of expenditure money that they'll pay and that. But the dome's kicking off at him because like quite a few of the planes get like trash in that, because like 70s stunters and all, the proper had to do most of it and all, because they might have like built them where there was just hollow, you know, and so they weren't really proper planes, but they're still crashing into them and that. But the because like they got petrol in them, there's all explosions. But yeah, and so yeah, then yeah, Bond asked for the Fillet of Soul restaurant that like he's getting watched by like one of the FBI agents and that, and so he does like what at the beginning of the do where they're doing a New Orleans funeral and that, and it's all like sad and that, and then fucking they kill the agent, and then they're all like happy and that. Well, Bond and Felix enter the Fillet of Soul and that restaurant come back sort of place, and there's a band on and that, and they offer him a seat at a turnstile, but like Bond refuses because like, no, I always had a bad turn. One of them. And then he goes, oh, someone goes to the stage. So they go close to the stage, and then the singer comes out doing a cover version of Live and Let Die, which is on the CD and that. And because they killed that agent, they found out like, oh yeah, Felix Leiter and that in the agent's name. So they say Felix Leiter, oh, do say the agent's name on the phone, and so Felix Leiter goes and that, and then Bond's just sat at the table, and then like the table just like a trapdoor, but a lowered down trapdoor, just starts lowering down, and then a cover covers up the floor, and then waiters come in and put like the table back where it is and put the drinks sort of like where they would be, and then make out like Bond's gone somewhere. Well, it lowers down, and Bond's in like a basement area that they lowered him down to, where there's Mr. Big, Solitaire, and Tee, Julius Harris, the one with like the claw hook arm sort of thing, and there's a guard or two, but they get told to like leave and that. Well, anyway, Bond sits down, and this is a bit corny, because the arms on this chair have like metal sort of cuff things that lock his arms to the chair. But when you see it, you can easily tell now you'll be able to like loosen your arm from that. But you've got to like pretend like he's pinned down on the chair. Even though when you look at it closely, you think, nah, he can easily like move his arms there. But they didn't bother and thought, oh yeah, we'll just make it look like he can't move his arms. Well, Mr. Big is like, oh yeah, you're like stole Solitaire from Mr. Big, and did you touch that? As in, did you have sex with her? Because he like knows about if you have sex with the tarot card reader and break her virginity, you can't read tarot cards no more. Well, anyway, Bond's like, no, I don't talk to lackeys and that. I'll tell Kananga when I see him. Well, this is a big reveal that Mr. Big, and this is good like plastic face, you know, like they do nowadays, but in them days it was top like quality, where they put like a plastic mask on him because they make Mr. Big look a bit paler and his nose more sort of pointed, and he starts to like pull off the plastic face, revealing that Mr. Big is Kananga. Because like Bond didn't really know why Mr. Big and Kananga were like mates and that, but now he's realised, oh yeah, because they're the same person, and as Mr. Big, he can sell the heroin, and as Kananga, he can grow the heroin. So he's like, oh yeah, so you're going to be selling the heroin and that, where Kananga is like, no, Mr. Bond, who's said anything about selling it? He's like, and like Roger Moore's like, oh, my apologies, I'm sure you're going to give it away. And then he's like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do, Mr. Bond. And he's like, oh, well, that's going to upset a few families and that, meaning like Colombian drug dealers and other like Afghanistan drug dealers or whatever, you know. And he's like, oh yeah, well, he'll drive them out of business, and then once they've been driven out of business, then I'm going to double the price of the heroin. And he believes that once he's got rid of the competition and he's the only monopoly of heroin, that people will pay anything that he charges, leaving him and the phone company to be the only two monopolies of the future, sort of thing. Because this was done in the 70s. Well, he's like, right, now Mr. Bond, the question still stands: did you touch her? And then like Roger Moore's like, well, it's a question that a gentleman shouldn't answer, and that. And then like Kananga, he's like a bit like pissed off, but he's keeping his cool and that. So like, oh well, I'm sure Solitaire would not be less of a lady. So he says, that's a nice watch. And he gets his watch. And so he's like, right, so Solitaire, is the registration number, and he says the number, is that correct? Am I telling the truth? And then he's like, to Teehee, if on the first wrong answer, cut off, because he's got that claw hook synthetic arm and that. Like on the first wrong answer, cut off Mr. Bond's little finger. On the second wrong answer, head down to more vital areas and that. Well, anyway, he asks Solitaire about the registration number, and she answers yeah, but it's wrong. But Kananga doesn't let on to that, and he acts like Bond didn't know her, and she's still telling the truth. So he gives her Bond his watch back, but he gives a little signal to Teehee that no, he wanted. So like Bond's relaxing that, and he's putting on his watch again, and he's all like, "Oh right, well I'm glad I got that." And then Teehee like knocks him out, and then fucking Kananga, he's all like, "Right, well you need to take him to the farm, which is an alligator / crocodile farm." And because he's knocked out, like Whispers, he like carries him off in that, and then he's talking to Solitaire in that, and so yeah, you had a 50-50 chance and you blew it. Like, why did you see with him? And she's all like, "Oh, the cat has told me," and that, and then Baron said he comes in with some like starts laughing and that sort of thing, and then Kananga sort of like slaps, which is a pretty good like stunt where he like pimp slaps her, and like she has to like jump and fall down sort of thing, and he does it like so the timing's real good. So you think he has slapped her down, but obviously he didn't. And he's real pissed off because he wanted to shag her if she wanted love and that. But anyway, Baron Samedi shows a death card in that, and then he starts laughing, and then it goes to where Bond's in the back of the car with like these dudes with teeth in one of them, taken into these crocodile farm / alligators and all. But anyway, gets in and that, and they drive up to like this like hut that they're processing the heroin in and that, and see he's like showing Bond around the place and that, doing the sort of like polite sort of curious thing and that, and then shows him like all these crocodiles, and then takes him onto like this island bit, and then whilst he's on this island, the drawbridge thing that they go on the island to get the onto this island bit starts going back with Teehee on it, and Bond left in this island with all these crocodiles and that. And like this is one of the greatest stunts that like got performed on this Bond film and that, because he tries to get his watch that's magnetic to get this boat because it's got metal oar holders that like, but it's hard to the bank, so that fails. So there's like these chicken bits that like get thrown around and that, and so the crocodiles are like circling, and then he sees like the opportunity of like jumping on 3 of the backs to get back to the show, which was performed by the dude who owned the alligator farm called Kananga, because they named the lead bad guy after the dude that performed the stunt, because he wanted a stuntman. He probably might have to have signed up to the stuntman thing, because in them days, like, you didn't really have to do much to be a stuntman if you could do the stunts, obviously. And yeah, he'd done it like 3 or 4, no, 2 or 3 times, I think, in that. But he was slipping a few times, and there's one where he slips, and he's got like a 2-foot sort of safety sort of gap, because the legs of the alligators or crocodiles, depending on which one it was, down, but the heads and tails sort of like flick out and that. So as long as you like was on their backs, you was all right. But if you weren't on their back, you would have got like rather whipped with the tail or chomped with the teeth. So there's 1 or 2 bits where he misses it in that. But they found out like his shoes weren't grippy enough, so they're on these little like metal spike things that like probably didn't hurt the crocodiles, because the crocodiles that he jumps on are real big ones, so the skin is real thick in that. And it gives him that enough grip to perform the stunt where he fucking runs over like 3 crocodiles. As I say, they tear down and that, but if he falls 3 feet either side of him, or he's getting fucked up in that. But anyway, yeah. So he gets over onto the other side, proper bottom move and that, and then like opens the alligator fucking gate and like throws these chicken bits around, so the alligators go into the hook thing where they're processing these heroin and that. And then Bond goes around the back, gets some oil, petrol, and that, and starts like setting it on fire. So it starts half burning the shack and that. And the crocodiles go into this hook shack thing that, like, inside it's a lab and that, but from the outside it looks like a little hook shack. Well, quite a big hook shack, but it just looks like a crappy old hut barn thing that, but inside is a proper fucking heroin producing fucking lab. Well, crocodiles go in, and then the fucking lab technician shit it, everyone starts running out, and by this time it starts exploding like stuff and that, and then so Bond gets on to her speedboat and just speeds out of there. He's having no fucking like time to say goodbye, you know. And then like see, he's like, oh yeah, get after him and that. So they send boats after him, and then send like one dude to go and block him off at a pass thing that's on the road that's quicker to get to and that. Well, anyway, great fucking speedboat chase scenes and that. See a few fuck ups in that, because one of the speedboat fucked up, but they kept sitting in that because it was like Bond that was fucking up, and then like the dude bending in the car gets pulled over back by the cop. What's his name? Clifton James, Sheriff G.W. Pepper, and plays like a fucking bit of an asshole and that because he's acting real tough and that. That's saying, oh yeah, you're speeding around in my town sort of thing. I'm the fucking law sort of thing and that. Well, anyway, they're at this pass thing, and then Bond bending up to it and that, and then he like sees like 3 speedboats bending up to him and that, and like this is a bit where the had to modify the speedboat engine propeller that like when it hit the ramp it would collapse outwards and that, because if it didn't, or it was loosened and that, so when it hit the ramp there was giving it, so it didn't rip it off and that, and it able for it to jump over and that. Well, anyway, jumps over the cliff and that, and like did a great bit where they're like looking at that, it's like what the, and it does say fuck, but because it's a Bond film and that PG, there's engine motor covers it up, so you what the sort of thing in that. Anyway, lands the jump and that, and a bit of confusion. The dude who's Kananga's henchman man sort of thing gets into the car and like gets out of there, and Pepper, WJ Pepper, is a bit confused, and a speedboat crashes into his car, and then another one like just bears over him, like makes a jump and that, and then he's going to shoot someone, but then he's going to shoot the dude who is driving out of there, and then like some other coppers cook him up. Oh, like he commandeers his vehicle and that, and gets in it, and they chase him now. The speedboat chase is class. Like 10 minutes class speedboat chase. One of them where you got to see it. Like I can't really do it justice, but like some great moves and that where Bond is like going over like these value sort of things and that. Anyway, the coppers and that are chasing him and that, and there's a bit where it comes to a bit of a dead end, and so he has to go over the bank onto the like road, and then back on to like the bank into the river and that. And so yeah, both pull that off, leading for the cop cars to crash and that. Well, anyway, the dude with the henchman who got in the car and that goes to a place where this dude who's called Billy Bob, he's the brother-in-law to Sheriff WJ Pepper and that. But he knocked him out and gets in his speedboat and that. But like Sheriff WJ Pepper, or J.W. Pepper thinks it's his brother-in-law, and that, and so he's like, oh yeah, Billy Bob's gonna get him in that, and so like the follow them and that, and yeah, goes over and like says like catch up to Bond and that. But by this time, Bond's got to where it is a dock thing and that, and sort of like slows down and gets some tape tapes and paint and all that stuff, and puts it in a bucket. And the henchman has got a shotgun and that, and sees Bond and going to shoot him, but Bond throws the tapes and that and paint stripper in his face, blinding him and that, and then smashes his and puts his boat on full throttle and smashes his boat like into like the back of this big big boat, like where it's got like the back, and it must have had loads of explosions because a big explosion happens and that, and then they get into harbour and that, where Felix Leiter's there, Bond's doing 3 miles per hour rail slow, and J.W. Peppers sees him in that because they get there, hit in a wrecked like police car, and he's like, "Yeah, what are you, some kind of doomsday machine, boy? We got a cell that's gonna lock you up," and that, and then like his commander like gets told, "Oh yeah, it's Bond. He's a British dude helping the FBI out on one of their cases and that. He's a secret agent," and then like secret agent on whose side? And that, then like it goes to where Bond and Felix Leiter's getting talking about where that's so solitaire and that, and so, "Oh yeah, left these cards and that had like death and that, and so Bond's like, "Oh yeah." He thinks he knows what, because I said, "Oh yeah, they got a plane to some San Monique, I think," and that, and so yeah, they took solitaire to like San Monique, where you see it where they've got like the voodoo ritual sort of ceremony going on, and that where the locals are all out dancing and that, and Bond, him and the doodle and Felix Leiter and the doodle was on the boat, helped him parasaid paraglide, that's it, paraglide into Jane Seymour Solitaire's sort of house, garden, sort of porchway. He's there along to plant bombs in all the heroin plants and that, and then Bond's there to like get Jane Seymour back in that. So you have it where Jane Seymour get like carried out in that and like tied to these poles and that, and then the dude with the boat head thing comes out with the snake and that, and starts dancing around and that, and just before he's gonna like bite it, it stops and that, and then Baron Samedi raises out from the like a great thing, but it's all supposed to be like done mechanically and that, and then Bond shoots it, but it's like a clay doll, like special effects of it good, because it does look like Baron Samedi looks up to see his skull being shot before saying that. But anyway, Bond like shoots the dude with the snake and that, because then he's about to kill Jane Seymour and that Solitaire, and so Bond like shoots another dude and that, and then like frees James Seymour and that Solitaire, and then the explosions happen with the heroin plants, and then like he's about to escape and that, and then another because Baron Samedi's supposedly the voodoo witch doctor that can never die, so unless like he's a clone and that. But anyway, another Baron Samedi comes out and that, and then like runs at him with a machete and that. Bond picks up a machete, have a little well, involved a fist fight because he just blocks the machete and that, and then punches Baron Samedi into a coffin full of snakes where there's supposed to be poisonous snakes and that, like bite him and that, kill him and that, and then Bond goes to like this gravestone that's mechanically engineered to like lift and lower down people and that, and taps it and that, and so they lower it down. I think it's Baron Samedi, and then it's like an underground cave system where Bond and Solitaire like run into and that, and then they get to this door where they enter it, and it's Kananga's base layer where he greets them and that, because like he's got guards fucking with machine guns and that, and he's like, oh yeah, sit down, like, you know, like the doing Bond films and that, and then like you see his mate and that get back, and he thinks Bond's got his wetsuit and a shark gun that they give him that fires these bullets that expand high pressured air into them, and it explodes them and that. But anyway, Kananga's men has found it and that, and so Kananga's like talking to Bond about it and that, and like Bond explains to him like, oh yes, it's a shark gun and that, it's got high pressured bullets and that. So Kananga shoots a sofa that Whispers is on and that, and it like expands like a balloon and explodes. And then like Kananga's really sort of like fucking buzzing with that toy and that. And then like Kananga's like, oh right, well anyway, I'm about to kill you, but he says it in a polite way, sort of thing. And that, so he ties Roger Moore and Jane Seymour to like this crane lowering system that like they're gonna lower into like this, because it's an underground sort of cave. It's got a fucking sort of like lake, underground lake sort of fucking thing swimming to it. Obviously, this is all like made up, and I think, I don't know, like but they might have got caves like that, but I don't think so, because it's like an enemy's base layer and that. There might be like base layers out there, but anyway. Well, Kananga starts to cut Bond's arm and that, and Bond's like, oh yeah, there's a simpler way to like, or there's an easier way to kill someone. And that's, oh no, that they're fatal and that. So it starts to like lift the sort of crane system up, which they've got like a panel sort of thing that they stood on, but they're tied to it in that by their arms, because it's used to like get their missiles things that they put. Well, they're not missiles. They have like heroin in it. It's they're there to transport them and that onto the side and that. But anyway, as he's getting lifted up in that, he sees that bullet with the fine, like concentrated air in it and that. that he uses what magnetic pull to like get it to him and that, and then he puts it in his mouth and that. And then this watch is great. This is like one of them gadgets where I wish I had a watch like this, where the bit that you use that like spins around, that is for oxygen levels when you deep sea diving or whatever. So you know how much time you've got left in your oxygen tank and that. Well, that spins around like a chainsaw sort of, or a buzz saw sort of fucking motion, and cuts the rope off that's tying his arms to the sort of like scaffolding sort of crane bit. And you see like a shark getting closer into like where Bond is, but it's all up in the air. Well, anyway, Bond, I think it's Roger Moore that does it in that. He like does like a swinging motion where he swings the crane thing to the side and bolts Whispers, because Whispers it's called Whispers because they've got a loud voice, because for some reason he got his voice fucked up, and so he can only whisper, and so he tries to shout, but Bond bolts him into one of these like missile like container things that get used to transport the heroin, because they're that big. They can fit a full man in. Anyway, then like Kananga sees, oh yeah, Bond's free in that, and so he gets a knife in that, and like they start having like a bit over like psych out with each other, and then Bond sort of like gets the knife off, like in the ribs and that, and they both fall into like this pool thing. The shark come in and that, and Kananga is all worried about the shark. Bond gets the fan pellet bullet thing, gas shark bullet thing out of his mouth, opens a little bit, puts it in Kananga's mouth, makes him swallow it, and then like Kananga explodes with the concentrate air, makes him into a balloon. Now this bit, like from this stuff happening in the book and that, this was like proper crazy TV film sort of fucking screen fucking entertainment, where he blows up to a balloon, floats to the ceiling, and explodes. Real good fucking death scene in that. Well, anyway, Bond and Jane Seymour, Solitaire are on like a train because they want to do some more shagging. And but anyway, see, this bit's good because like big calling that, because like I don't know, I don't realise there was a man inside of a like postal sack. But anyway, he's in a postal sack that he uses his claw / sort of like hook thing to like open up the mail sack and that, and fucking must kill the guards probably in that, because he takes out the power in that, and Solitaire's in bed, and she thinks Bond's turned out the lights and that, and so she's all like oh yeah, that's real nice, yeah, lock the door and that, and then he opens the door, but she thinks it's Bond locking the door and that. Then he's gonna cut off one of her fingers and that with his claw thing, but Bond sees he, and it's one of them fold away beds that you can put onto a side. That I think Jane Seymour really was in the bed that to use that he just slams it up and that, and so she's sort of like sandwiched into the side of the wall in this sort of all the way bed thing, and then Bond throws a deck of cards at like Teeh's face and that, and then it's a pretty fucking fight. So this is like one of them bits where they do where it's like, oh yeah, you thought like it was all that. No, there's still more action. Wait. The fight scene's pretty good. Lots of breakaway sort of stuff that they're using, but they're still like fucking going for it in that. And like fucking Teehee gets Bond sort of like fucking in a chokehold at the window of the train, and it's one of them windows that's got like a pulley thing on it that you pull down the window. Well, Bond's getting choked out Roger Moore and that, and so he gets these nail clippers that like he starts cutting at the wires of Teehee's fake arm that like fucks his arm up, and then his arm like locks onto like these handrail pull on the window of the train on the inside and that. Well, anyway, he has Solitaire complaining that she wants out and that because she's probably getting claustrophobic by this time. So he just grabs Teehee's legs and that just chucks him out of the window, sort of thing. And the arm is left on the side and that. Then Bond sort of pulls down the bed, side bed thing and that, and she's all like, "Oh, that wasn't funny," and that, and he's like, "Oh, hey, just got something to do." And then he goes, takes the like prosthetic hook off the handrail on the window and chucks it outside, and that, like, oh, just disarming sort of thing, and then closes it, and then you see Baron Samedi on the front of the train riding it. So yeah, he's supposed to be like the voodoo Woodstock that never dies. And then Live and Let Die theme tune comes on. The end. So yeah, great film, best Bond film, one of the best films. Great fucking song things. Some of the best songs you're gonna see. So yeah, thanks for watching anyway. Next week should be like Man with a Golden Gun, thinking that. But yeah, thanks to Superfan Adam Shohan for popping by that. Get on, and yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.